We are at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis as another big crowd has gathered. Sold out tonight. It's game 2 between Cincinnati and St. Louis. The Reds pulled to .500 last night, thanks in part to their offense coming alive. 17 hits and 3 home runs. Alex Gonzalez against Kip Wells was 0 for 10. Coming into play last night, he would homer twice, and Griffey would hit number 564. With my partner Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to the broadcast booth. The Cardinals, as a team, only hitting .241, and here at Busch Stadium, Al, they are 1-7. What's going on here at home?
I don't know if they like the home cooking or whatever it is, but there's no rhyme or reason. This is usually a place where they really pick up a lot of victories at home, and I'm sure they will over the course of the year, but right now it's been a struggle. Yeah,
and a bright spot, though, as of late has been the hitting of Scott Rowland in the middle of this lineup. He has picked up his average 88 points in the last couple of games.
Well, the last 2 games, he's got 7 hits. He had a career-high 5 hits on Sunday, and he's starting to spray the ball to all fields. He's staying on the pitches, he's seeing the pitches, he drives that one out of the ballpark, but it's just seeing that good swing. Now we need to get a bunch of 2 or 3 of his teammates to help him out and do the same.
Yeah, you can see with Rowland, too, he's starting to spray the ball a little bit. It's not just a one portion of the field.
Yeah, as a pitcher, if you have a pull hitter up there, I mean, it's so easy to pitch to him. You can stay in one location, let him just pull the ball foul. But if you have a guy that'll spray the ball around, you can't stay in one location. You have to move the ball around, and there's more chances for error.
Well, it's a pair of right-handers tonight. He was outstanding a year ago. Bronson Arroyo in his 2nd season with Cincinnati. He gets the start for the Reds. Meanwhile, this guy has been terrific. Braden Looper looking for win number 4 tonight. It all starts with the starters when we come back. David Eckstein against tonight's starter Bronson Arroyo is hitting .389. It'd be good to see the leadoff man get going for the Cardinals.
A couple things have to happen. We've got to score some first and early runs for the Cardinals, take a little pressure off the offense and the pitching staff. But the one thing, too, is the pitchers could help out by not giving up such early runs and having the offense to battle back.
Well, the Cardinals have played catch-up this season. Opponents have scored first in 15 of 19 games. The rain, let's say, is going to stay away. Let's hope it does. A look around the majors when we come back. Joe Goldberg has news from Chicago. That's coming up next on FSN Midwest. A look from the Coca-Cola Pavilion here at Busch Stadium on a gorgeous night for baseball. Let's hope that the rain stays away. It's game 2 between St. Louis and Cincinnati. Good matchup tonight when you talk about Bronson Arroyo and Braden Looper and Tony La Russa. Al obviously has been very pleased with Braden, and he said he wasn't surprised one bit when Dave Duncan came to him and said, let's try to make this reliever a starter.
Well, pleasantly surprised is seeing how he's gone deep into ball games. That was the only thing I questioned, is would he be more than a 5-inning pitcher, and he sure has answered that in a very favorable way.
4 consecutive quality starts for Braden Looper, trying to pick up his 4th win. And there's a look at Jerry Narron. He's got a good ball club. They're going to compete all the way.
They should. You know, we've been saying for years with their offense, all they needed was some pitching. Now they've gotten some pitching, and they're going to get a little better. Bronson Arroyo won 14 games last year and lost 4 victories with the blown saves by the bullpen. So he's a handful.
And here is Josh Hamilton. Center fielder looks at a strike on the outside corner. Hamilton hitting .295, 5 home runs and 11 RBIs. And getting the bulk of the playing time in center field. As George Grand, the broadcaster of the Reds, was saying, this is one of the great stories in baseball. In my opinion, Al, this is the best story in baseball. I don't care about Glavine going for 300 or Bonds for 755. His story is beyond that, beyond what's happening on the field.
That's a great lesson for life lesson. If you get down and everything kind of snowballing on you, there is a way to fight your way out of it and get back to the top. So Cardinals had some interest, but here's a Rule 5 draft pick that is excelling at the major league level.
2-2 pitch, misses inside.
A lot of adversity.
69 degrees our game time temperature. For those that don't know the story of Josh Hamilton, drug addiction, alcoholism, was out of the game of baseball, and a former #1 overall pick, and now he's aboard.
Leadoff walk issued by Looper. Our Rico starter is Mr. Looper. 4 starts, a record of 3-1, ERA very good. 26 innings, so going deep into games, as you mentioned, Alan. He struck out 14 against those 8 walks.
Yeah, the only thing that Braden would like to rectify is some of his first inning troubles. We touched on that, a little problem with the entire staff, but struggle early in the game, then he recovers nicely, but you can get beat in the first inning.
Here's Brandon Phillips showing bunt. Phillips off to a slow start, only hitting .231. Everyday second baseman for the Reds. Cincinnati with 17 hits last night, 3 home runs for a team that's only hitting .240. You figure that at some point, just like the Cardinals, this lineup is going to come alive.
Exactly right, and they have struggled when they've been at home.
Phillips again showing bunt. It's a good one. Looper takes it himself, and they get him. So he flipped to Albert at the last second. Let's take a look at the Reds lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Hamilton leads all rookies in home runs and RBIs in the National League. Then Phillips and Dunn. Ken Griffey Jr. homered here last night. Edwin Encarnacion, Hattiesburg, Gonzalez with 2 home runs last night. David Ross and Bronson Arroyo, our Southwest Airlines starting lineup. So sacrifice in the first inning put on here by Jerry Narron.
Well, I think, you know, Jerry Narron says, hey, these Cardinals have been playing catch up. They've been struggling that way, so let's get an early lead.
Adam Dunn with 4 home runs.
You know, they also, Bronson Arroyo is looking for his first victory of the year. He's pitched very well, but they have not scored runs for him. His first 3 starts, they've only scored 1 run in each start. So maybe take a little pressure off of Bronson, but try and get an early lead.
Hamilton, the runner at second base, and the 1-0 pitch is pulled to Pujols. He'll take it himself. 2 down. Runner at third base. And it brings in Junior, the future Hall of Famer. Let's take a look at the Cardinals defense around the horn, brought to you by Auto Tire. Tonight behind Braden Looper, Duncan, Edmonds, and Wilson in the outfield. Roland, Eckstein, Kennedy, and Pujols along the infield, and Molina is behind the plate. 1-1 in 30 games for Braden Looper in his career. Of course, all that work done out of the bullpen.
Had 8 career saves against the Reds, tied for 4th most by any opponent.
.564 home runs for Ken Griffey Jr. And you see the defense here. At one point, when Junior first got to the National League, the shortstop for the Cardinals, whether it be Renteria or now Eckstein, would be on the second base side of the bag. And one thing they have picked up with Ken Griffey Jr. is that he's not hitting the ball to right field as much. Flies this one out to center. Edmonds there. So the leadoff walk is left stranded. No score after a half inning. Another look from the Coca-Cola Pavilion here at Busch Stadium. There is no score. Beautiful shoes. Cardinals lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Eckstein, Duncan, and Pujols. 99 games and 28 dingers for Mr. Pujols. Then Roland is in the cleanup spot tonight. Edmonds batting 5th, followed by Wilson, Kennedy, Molina, and Braden Looper. Our advanced auto parts starter is Bronson Arroyo. This will be his 5th start and still looking for that first win.
Well, he's, as I said, the first 3 starts, they only got him 1 run. The last one, they got him 6 runs. He came out with a big lead, and his bullpen blew the win for him. The Reds are 0-4 in his 4 starts.
See where he has allowed just 1 home run this year. Last season, he gave up 31, but he was a workhorse for Jerry Narron. 240+ innings. Hit softly to the second baseman Phillips, and Eckstein retired. Around the horn brought to you by Auto Tire. Let's meet the Cincinnati Reds defense tonight. Dunn and Hamilton and Ken Griffey Jr. in the outfield. Encarnacion, Gonzalez, Phillips, Hattiesburg along the infield, and David Ross is behind the plate.
Jerry Narron, I asked him why Ryan Friel for the 2nd consecutive day was not in the lineup. He said, we scored 10 runs yesterday.
Pretty good reason, as Duncan hits it into right. And a base hit.
Chris is 4 for 7 against Bronson Arroyo, including a home run. So he continues his good hitting. And ball pretty much in the middle of the plate. Got a 5-game hitting streak now, Chris Duncan.
And Roland now providing a little protection behind Albert Pujols, with the last couple of games coming alive with his 7 hits. Pujols in that 12-9 win on Sunday, 10th inning home run, and that ties him now for 2nd place on the Cardinals all-time home runs list with Kenny Boyer, each with 255. Pujols, El Hombre, the man. And up next after this home run will be trying to get a little guessing game going here. I'm trying to, you know, we need a little help going here, Al.
Well, he has hit a home run off Arroyo.
It was kind of floating there. I thought he might just jump on it.
Well, that's the thing about Bronson Arroyo. He really changes speeds, changes arm angle, and he'll give you, really keep you off balance.
And a timeout called by Pujols.
It's a 5 for 5. There you see the career mark, 5 for 5, 5 pitches thrown, 5 strikes. So be ready in the batter's box.
Outside for Stan the Man, had 475 home runs. And Pujols trying to pick up number 256.
Move past the captain, Kenny Boyer, and then he'll be chasing the man. The all hombre against the man.
That's right. 2-2 the count. Bronson Arroyo was fantastic in the first half of the 06 season. Matter of fact, he was so good he was an all-star. You wonder if the innings piled up and he just kind of wore out, ran out of gas at the end of the year.
I think Hamilton is deep enough in center field. Saw that sidearm frisbee. There you get a better idea how deep Hamilton is out in center field.
That's him there, huh?
Yeah, can you see him?
Barely. Here's a 2-2. Arroyo's one of those guys, Al, not overpowering stuff, but really knows how to pitch.
That's it. You know, it's the ability to throw a pitch when a hitter's looking for something else and just changes speeds. You're looking fastball, you get something soft. You're looking soft, you.
And a pitch in the dirt, and Pujols reaches. And runners at first and second for Scott Rowland, the hottest bat in this lineup. Well, great seats remain for the Cardinals Reds day game tomorrow. Matter of fact, over 24 tickets, 2,400 tickets remain, including box seats for the game tomorrow. And if you're thinking about the weekend with Chicago, Prime Seat Club is the best way to do it there at STLCardinals.com. But again, good seats remaining for tomorrow, and that includes box seats. Come on down. .69 miles an hour with that pitch to Scott Rowland for strike 1. It's so early in the season, you can have 7 hits in 2 games and raise your batting average 88 points.
But it sure makes it a little more enjoyable to look at the scoreboard.
Sure does.
69 to 87, but you know, that's a nice variance that really looks a lot faster.
And with those 2 games and RBIs piling up, he now has 10, which is second most on the team behind Albert Pujols, who has 12. Another look from the Coca-Cola Pavilion here at Busch Stadium. Runners at first and second. And the 1-1. And Rowland hits it out to center field. Hamilton there. Gets himself in a position to throw and fires back in. Josh Hamilton, when he was in high school, Al, was such a good athlete and such a terrific baseball player. Everybody knows about his hitting, but he was a pitcher. And he was clocked consistently at 94, 95 miles an hour. And they say every once in a while he would top out at 96.
That's unbelievable velocity for a high school player. And a lot of times, you know, it's not uncommon for high school pitchers to be also tremendous hitters. And sometimes an organization, you know, half of baseball wants you as a pitcher. The other half wants you as an outfielder, but there's always a fallback position. If you don't make it as a hitter, you could have, you know, maybe been the pitcher.
Throws from the left side. Case of Rick Ankiel, he's going the other direction.
Sure. Now we talked about Kenny Boyer. Kenny Boyer was a pitcher, and they converted him. Stan Musial was a pitcher, converted him to, you know, a position player.
1 ball, 1 strike. Runners at first and second. Edmonds pops it up left side. Foul territory. Encarnacion over, and Ross is there, and it's out of play. Good effort though from David Ross.
Well, David Ross got a lot of airtime last night's game. He was smiling at that camera, and I think they've got a thing going here because he likes this camera a lot. It's the one that is in that camera well. This is the one that little flirtation with it last night at the, you know, standing at the batter's box. He was smiling into it constantly.
Frustrated though tonight. Missed it on the pregame show. He was with Mike Shannon, was Jim Edmonds, and he said he's put on 12 pounds since the end of spring training. Getting healthier. And rips it into right field. And it's going to be a sliding catch from Junior. Takes a hit away from Edmonds and an RBI. After 1, no score. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. By Auto Tire, the Tire Pros. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By the Missouri Lottery. Show your true fan by playing Missouri Lottery Cardinals Scratchers tickets. You could win up to $100,000 instantly and other Cardinals prizes. Here's Edwin Encarnacion. Hitting under the Mendoza line at 194. No home runs, 6 RBIs. Looper pitched around a leadoff walk to start this game in the first inning.
A good pitch right there, just locking him up inside. And Looper's had terrific movement. Second half last year, he started regaining the splitter and his slider. Always had the good velocity, but had that shoulder cleanup, and it just took a little while for that shoulder to get strong again.
2-2.
You brought up a very good point, Dan, when you were talking about how Looper attacks these hitters and keeping the ball down, but in and out, trying to leave everything not in the middle of the plate.
And a ground ball hit to the Gold Glover, Scott Rowland.
Got good defense behind you. Why not use it?
Cardinal baseball brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. Visit southwest.com. And along with my partner Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin, Bud Productions crew, and many of our affiliates from throughout the Midwest are with us tonight. We'll have that breakfast tomorrow.
Can't wait.
Looking forward to it. And that's a ball to Scott Hatteberg, former Oakland A. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, and a .300 average. 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out, nobody on here in the top of the second. And a reason to pound that sinker, get ground balls, because you've got some pretty sure-handed fielders out there.
Oh, 7-time Gold Glover. Look at this ball, comes up on him a little bit, but you notice how he kept the glove down. Some fielders make the mistake of having that glove around the shin area, and then they try to go down on a ball. The proper way, just like Scott Rowland, is keep the glove down. It's easier to react and come up if the ball takes a funny hop.
2-2 pitch. The other thing you notice about Rowland, he moves so well side to side. A former basketball player, was recruited by many Division I teams and programs, but that wide base that he has. 3-2, misses inside, and it's a 1-out walk.
6'4", 240, but he's very quick and agile. So I've seen some guys take that wide stance, and the first thing you have to do is put their legs together to gain control of their body, and by that time it's such a reactionary position, the ball is by you.
Played with a good one, Kenny Reitz.
Yep. And you love his favorite line that he says to Mike Schmidt.
As this one is popped up, and Eckstein has got it. Those two almost collided last night. Of course, Mike Schmidt will occasionally play on the celebrity tour with Ken Reitz. A couple of good golfers, and Ken Reitz will go up to Mike Schmidt and ask him how his Gold Gloves are doing on Mike Schmidt's mantle. He says, "You've got my Gold Gloves. I was better than you."
Well, Kenny would win the fielding percentage championship at third base, but Mike Schmidt, because of his offense, would get the Gold Glove.
And for folks that don't know, Ken Reitz still lives here in the St. Louis area. Matter of fact, his son is working in the sales department for the St. Louis Cardinals. And Kenny is coaching high school baseball this year here in the St. Louis area.
Molina set up away there, but the one thing about Looper is he's had the ability to get inside, and the ball run inside there. You see, just takes the fluidity out of that swing, locks up a batter. He's not going to be able to hit it hard, and then you get their attention. Another pitch inside, another good pitch inside. Last night gave up 17 hits. Everything was out over the middle of the plate. When you start pitching inside, they don't take that same liberty with the swings.
Also, Al, especially against these right-handers, the tailing, sinking action. He's got a lot of movement on these pitches.
Yes, and then he's got pitches designed to be down in the strike zone. There's a slider there, but he's got that splitter. He's sinking fastball. He's developed the cutter that help combat the left-handed batters. I was talking with Griffey today, and we were talking about guys not pitching inside, and he said, well, you know, we had the ninth inning, there was 5 consecutive red hits. And you know, said pitch inside, you don't get that. He said, well, the umpires. I said, not if you start establishing inside from the get-go.
A strikeout for Looper. No score here in St. Louis. No score here in St. Louis, and the World Championship fan jewelry collection is now available at the Cardinals team store at 8th and Clark, or by calling 1-877-CHAMP-06 or STLCardinals.com.
Saw some of the replicas of the World Championship ring and different pennants. Really some neat things for the fans.
Here's Preston Wilson to start the bottom of the second. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Wilson, 49 at bats and 14 strikeouts. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Picking up some key hits, especially that first home run was a game winner for Looper and the Cardinals against Chicago Friday.
Pulls off the pitch, hits it off the end of the bat. And there's 1 away. This date in baseball history. The Cardinals fire manager. Oh, you're going to love this. Manager Vern Rapp, replaced by Kenny Boyer back in 1978. This date in baseball history.
Now, why would you say that? You know, Vern Rapp and I are close friends. You know when he managed the Reds, he offered me a coaching job.
Did he really?
Yeah, he offered me the pitching coach job, and I wanted to be the hitting coach.
And what did he say about your facial hair?
Well, Cincinnati Reds have the policy you can't have any facial hair, so that was another reason why I didn't go. But hey, it's also Joe Buck's birthday, and I apologize that I should have asked him a question last night, but he would have gotten very mad at me.
As Kennedy gets into this one, out to right, and Griffey with room makes the catch, and there's 2 down. For people that don't know the story, which I think you're probably going to go into, it's one of the great ones when you think about a father-son relationship and Jack and Joe.
Yeah, 20 years ago today, on his 18th birthday, he was on the road trip, and during the course of the game, Jack Buck and Mike Shannon basically said, "Happy birthday, Joe," and left the booth and let him do the play-by-play and left him all by himself. So he made his debut of Major League Baseball on Cardinal baseball 20 years ago today.
And Joe is undoubtedly the best in the business.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Joe Buck.
I think Joe would rather say that his dad is the best and he's up and coming.
There you go. 1-1 pitch to Molina. Grounder hit to short. Boy, Gonzalez was so good last night. Smooth out there at short. Cardinals go 1-2-3. And we head to the third. Arroyo leads it off when we come back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. FSN final score coming up later tonight. NHL and NBA playoff highlights, plus all around the major leagues with the scores and the plays that you need to see. It's the FSN final score tonight following Cardinal baseball. So Looper back to work. Bronson Arroyo, Josh Hamilton, and Brandon Phillips. 9, 1 and 2 in the lineup for Cincinnati. Pretty amazing. The Cardinals start playing 4.5 games out, and this is the furthest they have been back since all the way back in May of 2004.
Now they're actually 4 games out because Cubbies beat up on Milwaukee.
Let me rephrase it. When you woke up this morning,
yes, that's accurate.
You're 4.5 games out. Now you're 4.
Yeah, but been a while. They've been hanging around that top spot for every year. And I think we're all ready to say that no one's going to run away with the Central Division, and it'll be bunched up in a couple months.
I think you feel if you're hanging around 500, you get Carpenter back, and the possibility of Mulder coming back and being Mark Mulder, you feel pretty good about your team.
Right now, you also have to feel that you hope Looper continues what he has been doing, but you think Reyes and Wainwright will get better. Kip Wells will learn how to win. And the offense, you know, is going to hit.
Looper steps and throws over to Pujols for the first out. This was good to see Mark Mulder playing catch with Chris Carpenter earlier this afternoon here at Busch Stadium.
He's been down in extended spring, but brought him up here to kind of get evaluated and see where he is.
Still anticipate Mulder back after the All-Star break. And nice to see him back into form in the final couple months of this regular season. We'll see. Pitch count for Braden Looper back to the top of this lineup. It's at 35.
Yeah, but look at the ratio.
Not good.
More balls than strikes. He's walked a couple.
As we mentioned with Josh Hamilton, drug addiction, alcoholism, he carries only a few dollars in his pocket, and his wife travels with him on every road trip, tries to keep him in check, so to speak. And when anybody's asked about it, you know, he is open about the subject and what's happened with him in the past. He feels now that he can help people, be an inspiration, wants to talk about it. I mean, it's unbelievable for him to be playing in the major leagues. He played a total of 15 games last year at A-ball. Prior to that, he did not play baseball for 3 seasons. So we're talking since 2001, he's played a total of 88 baseball games, and here he is in the major leagues. Two outs.
There was a possibility that suicide was foremost on his mind rather than playing baseball. And interesting story of a former Cardinal farmhand and minor league manager, how he was inspirational in getting him back to this level.
Yeah, that's Roy Silver, and he runs the Winning Inning Academy down in Florida. And Josh Hamilton is getting cleaned up, and he said, I need a place to go, just take BP, play catch. And they allowed him to be a groundskeeper and essentially sleep in an office. And that's how he got back into shape. He showed up on his grandmother's doorstep, Josh Hamilton did, and his grandmother barely recognized him. He was close to 50 pounds below what he normally weighs, and he's a big man. Just a great story.
I walked up to him and introduced myself and just said, hey, I just want to tell you how much I admire you, and You should be so proud of yourself, but there's a lot of people that are just really pulling for you.
Grounder, nice play by Kennedy. Gets up and takes a hit away from Brandon Phillips. Good play by Kennedy on the backhand to spin and throw. All in one motion, it looked like. Midway through the third, there's no score. Cardinal Baseball on FSN is brought to you by Kia Motors. Kia, the power to surprise. By Rico, move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. And by Carrabba's, good things happen around our table. With Al Hrabosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. And welcome back to Busch Stadium. First pitch and a ground ball left side. Encarnacion retires Looper for the first out here in the third. So first time through this lineup. Arroyo 26 pitches and a good ratio, 18-8.
Throwing a lot of strikes. He's allowed 2 base runners, 1 hit and 1 walk. The old courthouse back out there. Hopefully soon we'll see the ballpark village start taking shape.
Talked with Bill DeWitt about the old courthouse, and that will still be a part of this skyline that you see from inside the ballpark, even when portions of Ballpark Village go up. All-star game coming to St. Louis. You know they want to get a good portion of that done by then. Eckstein looks at a strike as he backed away from a pitch. That's one of the sights that people love when they come to the new Busch Stadium. Popped up by Eckstein, and he is 0 for 2, and his struggles continue. Eckstein now has seen his on-base percentage dip to under 300. Not good for a leadoff man. Duncan now with 2 outs and nobody on.
Just got a 5-game hitting streak working, and he's hit in 10 of his last 11 games.
And he hits it into right field. Griffey won't get it. Not a very good jump there by Junior, and it drops in for a hit. 2-out base hit for Chris Duncan. He's 2 for 2. You got to wonder too if he was maybe just not seeing it out of the stands or the lights.
Well, you have to believe that because he got a terrific jump on Edmonds' ball and made a nice play on that one. But here it just didn't sound good. You see him kind of shielding the glove up in front of his eyes, like to try and, because the lights were, ball kind of shot in the lights. Kind of a helpless feeling, but I think he also read it well enough off the bat to know that it wasn't going to carry to him.
Here is Pujols. So at least this inning is extended to Albert with a runner on. Walked for the 10th time this season, his first time up. Looks at a strike, low and away.
And he has a season high 4-game hitting streak.
One ball, 1 strike on Pujols.
And you bring up a good point. You know, Albert earlier a couple weeks ago, you know, and the season hadn't been that long, but he had quite a few more strikeouts than walks. Now he's got that season high 4-game hitting streak. He's equal in walks and strikeouts, and that 10 walks equals Molina for the team high.
1-2 pitch on the inside corner. Pujols strikes out looking. Cardinals have stranded 3 in the first 3 innings here at Busch Stadium. First pitch by Looper to start the 4th. There's a strike blown away to Adam Dunn.
And here they have the defense that you were talking about that most clubs employed with Griffey. But Cardinals did not the first time up.
No balls, 2 strikes.
You got a power hitter that's been pulling a lot of pitches and pulling off of pitches. So you play 3 men on the right side of the infield. Scott Rowland the only one on the left side. But Griffey, remember, he had the accident at home where he fractured his wrist. It's still bothering him a little bit, so he's hitting more balls to left. So they're playing more straight away.
When you watch Dunn swing, and if folks have tickets for the game tomorrow, get here early and watch him take BP. It's an effortless swing, and the ball just jumps off his bat, and it goes a long, long way.
Well, he's quite a big man.
Sure is. And he strikes out. That's the 28th time that Dunn has struck out already this season. Let's go back to the Albert Pujols at bat. And this is going to be our pitch-by-pitch feature brought to you by Chevrolet. Getting both sides of the plate here, Al.
Yeah, looks like down and away, but, you know, pitcher's pitch. But, you know, hitter can accept one side of the plate, but when you get both sides of the plate, that makes it so difficult. And Albert didn't like the call. You know, most of the time they can only protect one side. You can't protect both sides of the plate. And if you're going to get in that wide a strike zone, it could be a tough day for the hitters.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Well, now they got the shift on.
Yeah. Outfield, though, is straight away for Jr. 2 balls and no strikes.
As you were saying, really yesterday was the first time he pulled the ball. Remember, he ground out the first time, and then he hit that home run, 564th of his career, to right field.
And he pulls this one to Albert, playing on the line. And there's 2 outs.
Looper getting him to hit it on the ground.
Trying to find a seat in the bleachers here at Busch Stadium.
Not a bad seat in this house.
Nope. Seven ground ball outs already for Braden Looper, with 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. No score.
2 balls have been hit in the air, and remember, one was just a jam shot that Eckstein caught at shortstop, and then Griffey, first time up, hit one to center field. So it's called pitching, working both sides of the plate, change speeds, but primarily keeping the ball down, having it pound it in the ground.
Looper has struck out 2. He has also walked 2. And an 0-2 pitch on the outside corner, but positioned perfectly. Adam Kennedy, one hopper, knocks it down, and with time they get Encarnacion. Coming up, Rolen, Edmonds, and Wilson. No score. Let's take a look at our Hardy's hot pitch of the game. A Looper to the glove of Molina.
Oh, watch where he gives the target down and away, and look where this ball is. Would have been right there, perfect. But you notice what happened right there is he's keeping the ball down, so even when they hit it sharply, they're hitting it on the ground. And remember how effective he jammed Encarnacion the first time up? Well, that time he didn't stride across the plate, he just tried to reach for it. And instead of diving across the plate and trying to get a better swing and maybe elevate that pitch, he just reached for it, hit it hard, but it was an out.
And Rolen hits it down the left field line, but pulls it foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. 5 for 6 on Sunday. 3 runs scored, a triple, home run, 3 RBIs, and the first Cardinal with 5 hits in a game since Renteria did it back in 2004 against the Mets. And pulls it foul again. 2 strikes.
Missed hitting for the cycle by just a double. He had 2 hits last night, including that elusive double.
When you think about the cold weather too, I wonder if it affects a guy like Rolen more so than some of the other players because of the surgery on the shoulder, even though he is a year removed, and he'll never use that as an excuse. But you got to wonder if that's a little bit of a reason why he had a slow start.
Well, and if you really look at it, everybody in baseball had a slow start except for A-Rod.
Right. Rolen pulls it, and that is fair. Off the chalk. It's touched by a fan. And Rolen will trot into second base. So ground rule double. 3 hits now for St. Louis against Arroyo.
He kept on going inside where he could pull it, and he finally pulls this one, but he keeps it fair right on the chalk line. And a fan reached over. It was kind of funny because our fans are so good, but it's natural tendency. He reached over and then he tried to realize that he did something wrong. Dropped the ball. That's hard. You know, if you have these low railings, it's only natural for someone to reach over and want to grab a baseball.
Well, we have seen Edmonds in particular, when he struggles, try to lay down a bunt. Might this be a time to do it? Situational hitting has been a problem for the Cardinals this season. Pulls one foul. Normally you wouldn't say that, but
yeah,
the way things are going, you might.
Yeah, you become unselfish. You know, runs have been at a premium, not really swinging the bat well, but I think Jim feeling a little better about himself that he will not drop down that bunt and realize at the very least he'll pull the ball to the right side and get Scott over, and hopefully by swinging away he can drive him in.
No balls and 2 strikes. Edmonds this season with only 3 extra base hits this year. 1 home run, 4 RBIs, and falls behind nothing in 2.
But over the weekend he had 2 of those extra base hits, a triple and a home run.
He said the shoulder feels pretty good. The toe's feeling all right. It's his legs that have been a problem, just trying to get back into game shape.
It only stands to reason when you have a shoulder injury and a toe injury that necessitated surgery.
0-2 hit up the middle. That's a base hit. Roland being waved in. And Jim Edmonds delivers on an 0-2 pitch, and it's 1-0 St. Louis.
Make contact, good things can happen, but when you've had a shoulder and a toe injury, you really can't do any baseball or any activity to really keep in shape. So that's why the legs are sore. Just kind of threw the bat at it, but he hooked it to make sure it'd be on the right side. So at the very least, Scott would advance. Even more so, it goes through, and the Cardinals were on the scoreboard in a rare lead.
Worth repeating that the Cardinals coming into play tonight, opponents scored first in 15 of 19 games. And here's Preston Wilson, grounded out to second his first time up. So back-to-back hits, 4 on the night for St. Louis. And a 1-0 pitch. Hung one and going to get away with it possibly. Hit high in the air down the left field line, and the catch is made by Dunn. Boy, he really hung it. Coming up later tonight, Best Damn Sports Show. Twins Gold Glove center fielder Torrey Hunter checks in to tell us if he's really facing a 3-year suspension over Champaign. Plus, wideout Dwayne Jarrett and Sean Merriman will be guest hosts. Best Damn Sports Show, period.
Was it Cincinnati, or who was it that Kansas City beat to propel Minnesota into the playoffs last year? And Torrey Hunter said
it was Detroit, I believe.
Yeah, and he said that he would buy every player a bottle of Dom Perignon champagne on the Kansas City Royals, and he sent 4 bottles to Mike Sweeney, the captain of the Royals, and that's what the suspension is, because you cannot give incentives to the opposing team.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the innocent mistake.
Right.
The Royals sent the Twins front office, told the Royals about it. They sent the champagne back. Hope it's the same 4 bottles. But that's an innocent one.
Kennedy lifts it out to left. Dunn over to get it for out number 2. And it brings in Molina, who is grounded out to short. Yeah, you send over the 4 bottles of Dom, and all of a sudden you get back some box wine. Could happen.
Or, maybe 4 bottles were consumed quickly, and 4 new ones appear.
There you go.
And a return. I thought these guys with the money they'd make, they'd know about Cristal.
Well, the money has nothing to do with that.
It's taste.
Taste. Money helps a little bit, though.
We got good taste. We just can't afford it.
Right. I need you to go back and get that Ted Turner deal. Then you can help us out. Can you do that?
No. Physically, no.
Not a chance?
No.
Up the middle and a base hit. Runners at first and second with 2 down.
Looper can help himself here. At very least, Molina gets the pitcher through the order.
Looper grounded out to third. All kinds of changes for Braden Looper coming into this season. One being a starter after nearly 600 appearances as a reliever. And the other was he had to pick up a bat and actually hit.
He's got 3 career hits. 1 for 8 this year.
Can help himself here. Two and 0. Cardinals have a 1-0 lead thanks to an RBI by Edmonds, his 5th of the year. 2 and 1.
Arroyo, an all-star last season, and is there voted as their not only good guy, the Joe Nuxall Award, but their best pitcher or most outstanding pitcher.
Looper to Gonzalez. Across the diamond to Hattiesburg, and the Cardinals strand 2, but they pick up the first run of this game, and it's 1-0. Top of the 5th rolls in here at Busch Stadium, and Scott Rowland is on a roll, and it's brought to you by Kawasaki. And Rowland continuing his hot hitting. It started though on Sunday in Chicago. 5-hit effort in the last 3 games. This has been updated. He's now 8 for 11, hitting .727, a home run, and 3 RBIs, and he scores the first run of this ball game after his leadoff double.
Good to see the Cardinals get on the scoreboard, and then they had 3 hits in an inning.
You could see too in that package of highlights that Rowland is hitting the ball all over the place. It's not just one portion of the field. He is spraying it. And a story now that is developing here for the Cardinals is the starting pitching of Braden Looper. Some thought, all right, we'll see him begin spring training maybe in the first week, 10 days in that starting rotation. Then he'll be moved back to the bullpen. There's another ground ball out from the grass, stepping in under the dirt, Kennedy. But then he makes it through spring. He's one of the Cardinals' top pitchers in spring training. And now we take a look to start this season with Carpenter out, and looking at the stats alone, he has been the Redbirds' best starter.
Absolutely. 3-game winner, 3 out of 4 decisions or victories, and here he is pitching in the 5th inning again. He is not allowed a hit, just 2 walks, really controlling the strike zone. And coming into the season, his career high in innings pitched was 3 innings. Got 103 lifetime saves. He had 572 relief appearances, 3rd most before he made his first start. Really, when you thought about the 2 guys ahead of him and the 2 guys behind him, they only made a combined 7 starts. So they were really emergency starts. Dave Duncan knew that there was a distinct possibility we would lose some of last year's rotation, and
left that pitch up, and it's hammered out to left. Alex Gonzalez with a 1-out base hit, and that is the first hit for the Reds tonight against Looper.
And a guy that had a career game yesterday, tied career hits with 4, had 5 RBIs, set a new record. And you see, there's what you said, the ball up there, that's supposed to be hit. One of the few times that Braden has got a ball up in the zone. Good thing is he's at the 8th and 9th batters to retire the inning.
Here's David Ross. Ross has got some of that raw power.
Yeah, what, 21 home runs a year ago?
Yeah, and one of those was a walk-off game-winning home run against Jason Isringhausen off the rooftop in center field at the Great American Ballpark. With all the ground balls, you think about the possibility here of the double play.
Sure.
Braden says that he starts to notice maybe that he tires a little bit around 100 pitches. But for the most part, he said that's really, you know, not been an issue for him. Getting tired and getting through these middle innings to get to 6 or 7 after his work is done.
Got a power guy that likes to get his arms extended, so they've been pounding him inside. But you can't say enough for what he's done, and you touched on it in the pregame show. His last outing, when he thought they turned to triple play and he had to go back out for the 7th inning, and he struck out the last 2 batters to end that 7th.
And Al, as you know, from a pitcher's perspective, all of a sudden you get those 3 outs and mentally you shut it down. More on that in a moment. The Susan G. Komen race for the Cure returns to St. Louis on June 16th. That's a Saturday afternoon, and we are forming a team and want you to join. For the first time, FSN Midwest partners with the Blues as we race for the Cure. Joining the FSN Midwest Blues team will even get you a special T-shirt. Access to pre-race festivities. The entry fee is $20. Find out more at the Blues website at stlblues.com. But mentally, you get the 3rd out, you're thinking, okay, who's next in the lineup?
Pitched 7 innings. I think what saved him was his pitch count was low enough to where he was thinking he'd be back out there for the 8th. But that's sometimes where you get late in the game, that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. You almost have that mentality as a reliever again. Say, anybody can pitch first 6. Now I'm going to show you how I can revert back to being a closer and get those final 9 outs.
3 strikeouts, almost with number 4.
You love his pace out there. You know, he's dictating the pace of the game. Gets a sign, gets ready, throws it, keeps his fielders on their toes.
Fouled back by Arroyo. Pitch count is near 70 for Looper. It just seems like to me, Al, that he's not trying to overthrow anything, which at times maybe we saw that a little bit last year.
Well, that's fair. You know, he's only going to inning, maybe 2.
Sure. That one at 81 miles an hour with movement. 4 strikeouts tonight. Top of this lineup for St. Louis is coming up. Back at Busch Stadium, our What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. Randy Kiesler and Kyle Loesch. And Loesch has been terrific. Former Minnesota Twin, pitching very well to start this season for Cincinnati. Randy Kiesler is coming off a start against San Francisco, and Randy actually pitched for Cincinnati as Eckstein pops one up again. And he is easily retired. Randy Kiesler 2-1 for the Reds back in 2005. Stop by the Tan Company and register to win Cardinal tickets in the Tan Company Cabana at Busch Stadium. And tickets include a premium and unique view of Busch Stadium, plenty of gifts from the Tan Company, where America tans. Stop by a salon and ask for details. Duncan's had a good night. He's 2 for 2.
See Arroyo drop down sidearm. You don't often do that, a right-hander to a left-handed batter, because he can see the release point so clearly.
Lefties hit a little better off of Arroyo a year ago. Right-handers hit just 227 against him. 1-1 pitch. He's got a very good curveball, and he has different variations of that breaking ball. Different
good look
speeds, a little sharper sometimes.
Sure. You know, he throws it from different angles, and it's kind of gives you so many different looks.
2-2 pitch.
really is an off-speed pitcher. And he'll throw that fastball just to keep you honest. Many times he'll throw it, you know, not in the strike zone, but to set up the breaking ball away.
The 2-2 is hit out to shallow center. Hamilton, a late break, dives, and he comes up with it. Josh Hamilton with the catch. Looks like he got a late jump on it, and he comes up with a fine diving catch for out number 2.
Well, we showed earlier how deep he was playing when Pujols was up. It's an off speed. It's a changeup, but it was up, and just didn't hit it on the sweet part of the bat. So good running catch here, and makes the play. As long as you come up with a play, you can pretty much play where you want. Edmonds would make that play standing on his feet, because he plays at a more shallow, believing that he can take away so many base hits in front of him and still have the ability to go back on a ball.
Here's Albert Pujols, and Albert pops one up right side. Hatteberg over near the wall, and Albert's got a life as Hatteberg goes into the front row and checks with the young man to make sure that he's all right. Did you see the 4-year-old in the spring football game the other day? It was Colorado State, and he was standing behind the end zone and got plowed into. A wide receiver that made a catch, and it was scary.
Let's see. Falls into the stands there. Yeah, it was. Ended up having, I think, took 30 stitches to close the gash in his forehead, but you know, could have been a lot worse. Tim Timmons over here racing over to get a good look and see where the play is made, and also can kind of help out, bring him back into the playing surface.
Here is a 1-1 to Albert Pujols. A strike on the inside corner, and Pujols doesn't like it one bit. Remember the previous at bat, it was a pitch on strike 1 on the outside corner that was low and away, and then he hit one foul, and it was an identical pitch to the one we just saw that was called for strike 3. The 1-2. But as we have said before, that's pitching.
And sometimes a pitcher will say, okay, we'll find out if the umpire might expand his zone.
The 2-2 is chopped left side. Easy play for Edwin Encarnacion. A wide throw, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3. 6th inning rolls in when we come back. Top of the 6th rolls in here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals have a 1-0 lead. RBI by Edmonds to drive in Rolen in the 4th. And Josh Hamilton will lead it off, followed by Phillips and Dunn. Hamilton with a good play out in center on a sliding catch. Really a diving catch. And he has walked and grounded out. And hits this one out to left center field, and Hamilton has gone deep, and that is his 6th home run. The rookie way out of here into left center, and we're tied up in 1-1. Josh Hamilton. There's some power for you.
Yeah, opposite field power. 6th home run. He leads all rookies in home runs and RBIs. Batting average over 300 now.
Again, this is a guy that played in a total of 15 games last year at single A, had not played beyond that, and previous 3 years to that didn't play baseball.
Cardinals had some interest in him in the Rule 5 draft, but Jerry Narron, his brother, who is a video coordinator for the team, had him a career, a lifer, you know, manager, player, and then coach in the minor leagues. But Jerry's brother, you know, had him in early years and told Jerry, he said, you got to see this kid. So when Wayne Krefsky, the general manager, said, I got a wild idea before the draft, and broached that idea with Jerry, Jerry was all excited. He said, and felt at one time he should have tried to get involved in Hamilton's career and try to see if he could maybe try to help him with his drug problem.
Former #1 overall pick with Tampa Bay. 1-2 is hit out to right center. Edmonds coming on. Jimmy dives. Yes, sir. Edmonds with a catch.
Saw Hamilton make one straight in, but that ball off to the side out there in right center. That nifty backhand, the tumble, and haul it in. Right off the end of the bat, so you have an idea it's going to go that way. And Jim, an 8-time Gold Glover, shows you some of his glove work.
Al, since he got here in 2000, we have done the majority of his games. I mean, it's been literally a handful of times that he has taken a false step. I mean, it is right on the money just about every time. He knows where that baseball is going to be, and he is at that spot.
He's the best I've seen wearing a Cardinal uniform in center field.
That's saying something. Some great center fielders along the way. Adam Dunn is struck out and grounded out. Shift is on for Dunn. Outfield is deep and straight away. Looper has only given up a pair of hits. One of those, a solo home run to start the 6th inning to Hamilton. Hit out of play. Four home runs, 9 RBIs, and a .267 average for Dunn.
First 2 plate appearances of the year, he hit home runs off at Soprano. Those were number 199 and 200 of his career.
People talk about Ken Griffey Jr. If he didn't have injuries, would he be the one going for 755 along with Bonds? And then the next generation that you talk about, Alex Rodriguez, Albert Pujols. But what about the guy at the plate, Adam Dunn? He's racking up some pretty big totals early on in his career. Here comes a 3-1 pitch. Watch out. And Dunn hits it out to right center. Edmonds over, and he's got it. If you're a dog lover, be sure to be part of this year's 3rd annual Purina Pooches in the Ballpark. And the date of this year's game is Sunday, June 10th. Very limited number of tickets will go on sale beginning on May 5th. For information, the number to call is 345-9000. You can always find out information on promotions at stlcardinals.com. Ken Griffey Jr. with 2 outs and nobody on. Did you know Junior when he was in the American League at all?
I actually, first time I met him was when he had just gotten drafted, #1 in the country, and his father was playing for Atlanta.
Had the chance now to visit with him a number of times since he came over to the National League. What a likable guy. You always heard about how he had a flair for the game and flair for the dramatic, and he always played with a smile on his face, and he's just a fun guy to be around.
You know, we talked to him one time about, you know, based on a lot of the injuries when he had in Cincinnati, and people were critical. He said, well, that smile's not there anymore. He goes, you know, what am I supposed to do? He goes, am I supposed to be sitting on the bench smiling when we're trying to play ball games? And that's a very good point.
Slaps the 0-2 foul. Ooh.
And off the top railing, and hopefully nobody got hurt.
Saw many players wear number 42 to honor Jackie Robinson, and that idea started with Ken Griffey Jr., who wears number 3 to honor his kids.
Asked for permission from the commissioner's office to wear 42, and I think Bud Selig wisely thought it was such a good idea, granted that opportunity to anyone who wanted to do so, and several clubs, including the Cardinals, had every player wear it. And they auctioned those uniforms off to Jackie Robinson Foundation.
2-2 the count. Junior is fly to center and grounded out to first.
Talked to his father 2 days ago.
And how is he doing?
He's doing well. He was traveling, said he'd get back to me. Trying to see if he wants to come in for the golf tournament again.
Of course, Junior on Father's Day hit home run number 500 of his career in St. Louis, and he said if he couldn't do it in Cincinnati, the place that he wanted to do it, It was at Busch Stadium, the old Busch Stadium here in town.
And he did it with his parents in attendance. It was his 500th home run off of Matt Morris. And the interesting thing, that was Homer was career hit number 2,143, the exact hit total his father ended up with in 19 years in the big leagues.
Remember visiting with him when he was going 4,500. He said it was just becoming a burden because he had a huge traveling party and he just couldn't. He was stuck on 499. He couldn't get to 500. He said that's where the pressure was, just getting to 500 so everybody can stop traveling.
He was probably flipping the bill.
You got that right. Another 3-2 pitch. Got him, popped him up. Rolling over near the line. Midway through the 6th, and we're tied up. It's 1-1. 1-1 game, bottom of the 6th here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals' hottest hitter steps in, and Scott Rowland doubled and scored back in the 4th, and he has also flied to center. Right back to Arroyo. 1 pitch, 1 out. Pitch count pretty low now for Bronson Arroyo at 66. And let's take a look at our Panasonic Plasma for the speed of sports. Duncan with this fly ball into center, and Hamilton comes up with a terrific play. Edmonds, though, returning the favor in center for St. Louis. Phillips sees a hit taken away by Jimmy. That's brought to you by Panasonic.
Says something about the young man's ability that you move Griffey to right field.
Sure does. They probably would have done that even if Hamilton didn't emerge, because they like Friel and his speed in center, but it says a lot about Hamilton to take all that time off and to play one of the toughest positions in this sport.
Well, now they're talking about leaving him in center field and moving Friel, you know, to round the infield, but particularly third base. A lot of times starting at third, as Encarnacion has struggled at the plate.
A couple of years ago, they thought about moving Austin Kearns to third base. One and 2 on Edmonds. They elevate, and he hits it out of play and foul. Bronson Arroyo got a contract extension in the offseason. He is signed through 2010 as the rain begins to fall here in St. Louis. Saw enough of that last night.
Yeah. And heard enough of it late this morning.
Boy, did we ever.
Early this morning.
2-2 pitch. Oh, it's tough to take. Full count.
Sometimes you don't have a choice. You're not in a position to pull the trigger. But Arroyo didn't get the call.
A 3-2. Edmonds taps it back to Arroyo. Underhands, and there's 2 outs. Bronson Arroyo was disappointed after he was traded to Cincinnati, but made the most of that. Parlayed a good year with a contract extension. Our Aflac trivia question: named the first player the Reds signed as a free agent. Have you read the new book on Curt Flood?
No.
Looking forward to getting that and reading it, as some of the fans seek shelter with the rain falling down.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
New book. Shouldn't say new. It's a couple months old, but talks about what he went through to get to the point that players now enjoy, which is potential of free agency.
Had an opportunity to meet Curt after his playing days, and very fascinating man.
Some people ask the question if the modern day player understands what Jackie Robinson went through and what he means to sports and what he meant to so many people, but also much lesser scale what Curt Flood has meant to the game of baseball and the salaries that these players enjoy.
Well, I don't think any of them really fully understand, and I'm not faulting them for it. But Curt made a statement, and Supreme Court got involved. They didn't win the first case, but it set the precedent for eventually free agency.
Strikeout of Wilson to end the sixth. It's 1-1. Baseball tonight on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Come in and try Jack's new sirloin steak and mushroom ciabatta. That's right, sirloin. By your local St. Louis Chrysler Jeep dealers. And by U.S. Cellular. We connect with you. And along with my partner tonight, Al Rabosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. See some of the folks behind home plate looking for shelter as the rain is picked up during our timeout. We're in the seventh, and it's 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on the third baseman, Encarnacion.
Looks like the rain's starting to lighten up a little bit, so
head back to your seat.
Yeah, just how about Braden Looper once again here in the 7th inning, pitching well. 91 pitches, so probably his last inning of work.
Only 2 hits allowed, and gets a pop-up. Eckstein going out, calls for it, waving his hands in the air, and makes the catch. This would be a name that I'm sure you remember, Al. Our Aflac trivia question: name the first player the Reds signed as a free agent.
Aflac.
And that's Paul Blair.
Paul Blair, huh?
Signed in 1979.
After center field and great career with Baltimore Orioles.
Right. 18 seasons in the major leagues.
People considered him to be one of the better defensive outfielders. And then a couple times you surprised you with some of his production numbers.
Oh,
how about that?
Boy, positioned perfectly was David Eckstein.
It was a catch, a line drive. But David did the right thing as he's looking out at the second base umpire and said, now you did know I caught it in the air.
So 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Tigers baseball returns to FSN Midwest. Missouri hosts the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, and live coverage begins at 1 here on FSN Midwest.
How's Mizzou doing this year?
Not bad. Not bad. I'll be down there for that game. Gene McCarter will be my partner on that broadcast.
The old coach.
The old coach. You know, we were wondering about Max Scherzer, the former Missouri pitcher. Did a little research. He still is not signed.
He is not, huh?
Yeah. 1-1 the count.
Told you I met him at the kickoff banquet for Mizzou. Went down and spoke at that.
Eckstein can't come up with this one, and it's a base hit out in the left.
Gonzalez has 2 of the 3 hits. They've both been singles, but the big blow and the reason that it's a 1-1 tie is the 6th home run by Josh Hamilton in the 6th.
You know, we had a chance to see Omar Vizquel already this season. Watching Gonzalez last night and again tonight, he's right there. I mean, he is smooth.
Set a record last year for fewest errors playing with Boston. You wonder why they let him go.
Yeah. Julio Lugo now is their shortstop. And a broken bat by David Ross for strike 1. Ross has struck out twice.
Broke his bat. 98 pitches, so see if he can get through this 7th inning, the next pitch or 2. be under or right at 100.
Cubs win today over Milwaukee at Wrigley Field. The final was 9-3. Colorado beat the Mets 11-5. Kansas City leading Minnesota 4-1. That's in the bottom of the 6th, and that's specifically for our director Tom Mead.
There's a little bet from Mike and Tom. There's no betting in baseball, but
no. Tom Mead from Minnesota, of course. Mike Helling, our producer, a huge Al Raboski and Kansas City Royals fan.
He wasn't born when I played there.
You want to bet?
Boy, he was leaning there. It looked like when Gonzalez went back to the bag, kind of slipped. So Hunter's trying to tell him to manicure the base paths, and Albert was kind enough to do it for him.
A little shorter lead this time, and here comes an 0-2 pitch. Well, last season, Aaron Harang did not get a single vote for the Cy Young Award, and yet led the league in strikeouts, tied for the league lead in wins, and again he was tough last night on the Cardinals.
Get a single vote.
Runner goes, and the pitch is hit to short. Eckstein there. Time to stretch. David Eckstein busy in the top half of the 7th. Perfect positioning on the liner. It's 1-1. Welcome back to Busch Stadium as the bottom of the 7th rolls in. On Saturday, May 5th, the Cardinals face Houston. It's Coca-Cola Mini Bat Day, and all kids 15 and under will receive a 18-inch bat highlighting the Cardinals' 10 World Championships. Compliments of Coca-Cola and their convenience retail customers. This is our Hyundai long drive inning. Entry blanks for your chance to win a 2007 Hyundai Sonata are at your St. Louis area Hyundai dealers now.
Well, I tell you what a perfect time to get a Hyundai application, but a better time for Kennedy to get a home run.
Still looking for that first Cardinal home run. Hit one to deep right. He's also flied to left.
It'd be Kennedy, Molina, and a pinch hitter.
One away. Cardinals have a right-hander getting loose in the bullpen.
Russ Springer.
Boy, Russ Springer's had one bad outing, and that's been about it.
Bullpen, for the most part, has been very reliable.
How about those lefties?
Lefties have been perfect. You know, very few hits, very few walks, and no runs allowed for the year.
A breaking ball taken low and away by Molina. Single last time up.
Somehow we get an idea we're going to see one or both those lefties in this game.
Skip Schumacher on deck, and a curveball in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. On the bench tonight, Bennett and Taguchi. Schumacher from the left side, and the switch hitters are Miles and Spezio. It's a tough pitch there on the outside corner. 1-2.
It's the velocity or lack of it, and placement of sweeping breaking ball, but ending up down and away.
Fastball at 87 miles an hour.
74 to 87.
Yeah, I mentioned before, Al, that Arroyo left Boston and was traded to Cincinnati for Willie Mo Pena. He was shocked and he was disappointed, and of course he was a big part of what the Red Sox did in 2004 in winning the World Series. But one of his best friends in the game of baseball is Theo Epstein, the general manager of the Red Sox, and he said, look, you got to take emotions out of this, and we felt it was the right time to make a deal for our club. And Arroyo gets out of the American League East, where he was a middle relief guy, a setup guy, at one point a starter, and comes to the National League and really has pitched well.
Sure. So
2-2 pitch, and Molina reaches for it. 2 gone.
and it's easier said than done, but you know, all the time you tell a young guy, you say, hey, don't worry about it, it's a business. If you look at it as a business and not something personal, you can understand why moves are made and not be hurt by it.
I mean, but these guys were rockers together, Al.
I know they
play guitar, they're in bands.
A great job by Looper again. Seven innings, 3 hits, 1 run, walked 2.
101 total pitches for Looper, 63 were strikes. It might be the only downside really tonight, is that his strike to ball ratio not great.
Yeah, but he still gives you 7 great innings. A solo home run, they never had more than 1 base runner in an inning, and deserves to pick up his 4th victory, but it'd be up to Schumacher to either give him the lead or extend the inning.
Only mistake was to Josh Hamilton. 2-2 on Schumacher.
Dan, and sometimes you just got to give a hitter credit. Yeah, it looked like it was a pitch up, but even though it's a ball hit out, it's a single mistake and not complicated by having a couple walks or base hits in front of it. So I mean, just a plus outing.
2-2 pitch. Slap foul and out of play. Schumacher was probably the last guy that made the roster for the Cardinals after a very, very good spring. Beat out John Rodriguez. 2-2. And Skip gets a piece.
And with Encarnacion on the rehab assignment now, he was 0 for 3 his first game. He's DHing and leading off, playing at AA Springfield, and he was rained out yesterday, so he's back playing the game again tonight, hopefully. He'll be down there for a maximum of 20 days before he'll be coming up here and patrolling right field.
2-2 pitch. Try to get inside on Schumacher.
His pitch count is now sitting at 94.
Another 2-2, and Skip rolls one over to the first baseman. Race to the bag, and Skip is out. We have played 7 here in St. Louis. Strong 7 innings from Looper. Now it's up to the bullpen. It's 1-1. 8th inning coming up. We like this quote, our Geico quote, everything felt good. Chris Carpenter on yesterday's workout is playing catch again with Mark Mulder today, and Tony La Russa was telling us before the game that Carpenter will throw a bullpen session over the weekend, and we'll see where he's at after that.
You could do that on Saturday, and then you wait and see if any irritation or inflammation shows up. Russ Springer appearing the 10th time. ERA, and you touched on it, just had the 1 bad game. That was against New York, the 3rd game of the year, a 1/3 of an inning, 2 hits, but he gave up 5 runs and 3 earned runs with a couple walks.
So both starters now are out of the game as Springer is in for Looper, and a pinch hitter, Ryan Frio, hitting .288, no home runs and 1 RBI, is the pinch hitter for Bronson Arroyo. So both starters very good.
How could this guy sit on the bench with all his high energy?
Well, I agree. You got to find a spot. Like you said, it could be the infield. He can play anywhere.
They like him. He gave him a contract extension, and it's a guy that just maxes out his ability.
Good news concerning our buddy Ron Santo. Was hospitalized over the weekend with the irregular heartbeat, and now he is back home and feeling good. That's good news.
Well, you know, he has a pacemaker, and sometimes you need to get that thing adjusted. So hopefully that was just more of a case that way. Ronnie's had enough problems.
Here's a 2-1 pitch.
Russ Springer mentioned just one bad outing. Only game that he's been scored upon this year. This is his 10th outing, so he's becoming that, you know, 7th inning guy, pitching here in the 8th in a close game.
2-2 pitch. Oof. Last thing that Springer wants to do is walk Friel with his speed.
So Flores is ready for the lefties behind Friel.
The 3-2 pitch. Friel pops it up. On the infield, Kennedy for out number 1. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Springer had one man to get. He got him, and now they're going to bring in Flores for Josh Hamilton.
So 1 out here in the top of the 8th in a 1-1 game. Flores trots in. This week, America's grand game returns to Fox when the Cubs battle the Cardinals. It's the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week at 2:30 Central, only here on Fox. Rematch of last weekend and highly entertaining games at Wrigley Field. Randy Flores in for the 9th time, and look at those numbers. No wins, no losses, no ERA.
And of course, talking about one of his better outings. They've all been good, but on Sunday, he retired all 5 batters he faced in Chicago. He's not allowed a run in his 8 innings of work, covering 6 2/3 innings, and he is 8 for 8 in retiring the first batter.
1 out and nobody on for Hamilton. Hamilton is homered tonight. He is walked and grounded out. The amazing thing about Hamilton, Al, is we have talked about tonight, just the fact that he's had all that time off, and yet he's got his timing back. And he's doing it at this level.
Just think what he might have been.
Oh, he's still a young guy, though.
Yeah, I think he's 25, but just think if he would have, you know, if he was on the fast track, if he could have got there in the big leagues at 21, 22.
And people at home are, I'm sure, are asking, well, how did it get to that point? What happened? He had a back injury and was on the sidelines and got hooked up with the wrong crowd.
Wasn't it an automobile accident or something that was initially put him on the shelf, and a series of other injuries probably contributed to that, and just, you know, like you say, get around the wrong crowd and got money in your pocket. People are going to help you spend it.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Got him to chase, and he struck him out.
A lot of breaking balls, and then he kind of gets one a little bit wide of the plate. He chases it. And Randy Flores is a little bit more than just that, you know, one-dimensional left-hander that can just retire left-handed batters. I think Tony feels very comfortable with a left-handed batter on deck to leave him in there to face some right-handers or two.
Cardinals will have the top of the order coming up. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th in a 1-1 game. Phillips sacrificed all the way back in the first. He is grounded out and lined out. Jerry Narron trying to get an early lead, sacrificed in the first inning with Arroyo on the mound too. I'm sure that played a part in his decision.
Sure. Leadoff batter was stranded at third with Junior making the final out of the inning.
And neither of the starters disappointed tonight, as Looper went 7, 1 run allowed, 3 hits, gave up a solo home run to Josh Hamilton back in the 6th. Cardinals' only RBI comes from Edmonds back in the 4th. Brought in Scott Rowland after his leadoff double. Pitch in the dirt, and the count runs full. Post-game show coming up following our ball game tonight. The 3-2 pitch, and Phillips hits it foul. Tough day for Ned Yost. Yesterday he broke his collarbone while jogging near Lake Michigan, and then his team goes out and loses today 9-3. Check swing, got him. And Flores strikes out 2 as he enters the game. Eckstein, Duncan, Pujols coming up here in St. Louis in a 1-1 game. Cardinals with 5 hits. They have stranded 5. Cincinnati with 3 hits. They have left 4 on, and we're tied up at 1-1. Here is tonight's game reset, brought to you by Singular. Singular is the new AT&T. And it's been pitching tonight on both sides, but how about Braden Looper in his start for St. Louis? 7 innings, 1 run allowed on 3 hits. Some defense from Griffey, Hamilton, Edmonds, and Jimmy drives in the only RBI for St. Louis. Hamilton for Cincinnati with his solo home run. And here is Kirk Saarloos, and again that reset is brought to you by Singular. Singular is the new AT&T.
I knew that. Singular is the new AT&T.
And here is Kirk Saarloos, right-hander in, and he will face Eckstein, Duncan, and Pujols.
Saarloos, when first saw him come to the big leagues, he was with Houston, and they sent him packing to the Athletics, and then he was traded to the Reds in January.
Little bloop down the right field line, and the go-ahead run is on. Eckstein will take it. And now you've got Duncan. Let's see if they want to burn one of their lefties here. They have got 3 lefties in their bullpen.
Santos, Victor Santos, is the left-hander warming up. If you got 3 of them, might as well use them.
Pujols on deck.
Wait for Edmonds. Could be too late.
Yeah, the game's on the line here with a guy that's got pop and Duncan and already 2 base hits.
Shoot, the way he's swinging the bat against lefties, I'd just soon have him face a lefty. But does have the 3 home runs and 4 RBIs. But last year he hit only 170 against lefties. This year, much improved.
Here's the 0-1 pitch.
He was hitting about 500 against lefties until we went on that road trip. But
got Cormier, Kulongas out there, and Stanton. But Mike Stanton still going. 1,120 appearances.
Second on the all-time appearance list. He's just chasing Jesse Orosco.
A 2-1 pitch. Little inside and I guess low.
Carlos had to want that one.
Now you got Pujols on deck, and Duncan can be very selective here. Wait for his pitch on 3-1. Oh.
That pitch out there, you see him moving and just kind of sliding away out of the strike zone, but
and Chris just gets a piece, stays 3-2.
you were with me a couple years ago when we played golf with Sarlos and one of the coaches from Houston.
I can't remember who it was.
You know,
Al, it's been years.
I know, but little guy, he could hit the ball a long way.
And that is ball 4. So now, first and second for Albert Pujols. You know, one of the things that the Cardinals have talked about with the maturity of Duncan is the fact that he has great knowledge of the strike zone. Wasn't always the case when he initially came up, but it has gotten better at a quick rate.
Well, I think what's really helped him too is the big league level that you have better accuracy with your and location with your pitchers, so they throw more strikes. But hitting in front of Albert, you know, you need that ability to, to bring him up, extend innings to bring him up. Nobody out here, so a great opportunity for Albert to just be Albert.
It's been all or nothing. 1 for 2 with a home run against Sarlos. Started him off with a breaking ball. Here comes an 0-1 pitch. Pujols has walked tonight, struck out, and grounded out.
Is he up in the Cardinals pin with the anticipation of the Cardinals taking the lead?
And Albert slices one out of play.
But Tony usually brings in his closer even if the game is tied.
In the hole now with 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 runners on.
The more pitches you see, the more opportunity that you're going to see a mistake.
The 1-2 pitch. Pujols chops it off the plate and foul. Just staying alive. I'm sure in the back of Albert's mind was the strikeout back in the 3rd, which he didn't like the first pitch and the 3rd pitch, and then you look in the 5th, he disagreed with one of the called strikes. So trying to protect that plate tonight. Here's a 1-2. Every time it hits the dirt, Pujols will ask that the pitcher get a new baseball and rub it up. Just like when you played, Al.
Yeah, there was a time where they only played with one baseball. These hitters like everything new.
Don't blame them. 2-2 pitch. Albert hits it out to right center. That ball gets down. 1 run is going to score. Here comes Eckstein. That ball goes all the way to the wall. Duncan being waved in. Pujols delivers. 3-1 St. Louis.
That's the Albert Pujols we're accustomed to seeing. 2 RBIs on the double, and that ball did split the outfielders and got all the way to the wall. And there you see that ball just kind of backing up, staying in the strike zone, plugs a gap out in right center. And not only Eckstein, but Duncan, who can run for a big man, crosses the plate. Now they're going to potentially walk Rowland. And you would have to believe they're going to bring in the lefty to face Edmonds.
Charlouse started the inning with a blue pit allowed to Eckstein. Then the walk to Duncan, a costly one. A double by Pujols. Intentional walk now to Scott Rowland. And the Cardinals will have runners at first and second and still nobody out here in the 8th for Edmonds.
Jerry Narron will go to his lefty now. He did it the right way. My pet peeve is when they don't have a guy walk somebody and then bring in a guy to do something negative, but you wouldn't do it with a lefty.
So I'll tell you about the change when we come back as Pujols delivers, and it's 3-1. Pujols with RBIs 13 and 14, and now the Cardinals lead it 3-1. This year, when you can't be at home to watch the Cardinals here on FSN, check out MLB.tv, and you can log on to the internet to watch every out-of-market Cardinals game live or listen to every radio broadcast live. For more details on MLB.tv, visit STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on. John Kutlangas is into the ball game, a lefty, one of 3 that they have in the bullpen for Cincinnati.
Kept on saying Santos, and in the back of my mind, I know he's a right-hander. So,
well, he is getting loose, though.
Okay,
he's out there getting loose. And the Cardinals will counter here as Edmonds was due up with Sotoguchi. Let's see if he wants to lay down a bunt. He is showing bunt. First 4 have reached for the Redbirds here in the bottom of the 8th.
Remember, nobody out. Pull that bat back, maybe the Butcher Boy, but showing bunt, gets it down.
Gets it down, a play at third. And they get the lead man. That's Albert Pujols. Couldn't bunt it to his right or his left. Went right back to the pitcher and doesn't do the job.
Now the defense is they're trying to set up. He watches the shortstop back there to keep Pujols, the runner at second, very close. And then he bunts it hard right back to the pitcher. And the pitcher very aggressively bounces off the mound, gets a lead runner. That's all they were trying to do. And this lefty got his only batter out.
So here comes Santos. Cardinals have Preston Wilson due up with 1 out and runners at first and second here in the 8th at Busch Stadium. Back with more in a moment. Here is Victor Santos. We have seen him pitch in the National League Central Division with Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. He's been with Texas, Colorado, Detroit, and now with Cincinnati, and this will be his 11th appearance on the year.
He started season as non-roster player, minor league contract, didn't allow a run in spring training. He's always had a good arm, but well traveled.
Very well traveled. So here is Preston Wilson. Wilson tonight has struck out. He has flied to left and grounded out to second. Cardinals lead it 3-1. Pujols broke open a 1-1 tie this inning with an RBI double to right center. And the first pitch is a strike. Seemed like the at bat with Albert Pujols, he's trying to go to right, and they kept on trying to pound him on that outside portion, and a very good piece of hitting by Pujols to go with it. 1-1.
Santos retired the first 10 batters he faced, then he walked Soriano.
Preston lost the bat on a breaking ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. More times than not, that's the pitch that will get Preston Wilson.
You know, you can get him to chase a fastball up in the zone, the breaking ball down and away. But we also saw Ted Lilly throwing an outstanding game last Friday and tried to throw a fastball down and in to Preston Wilson. He hit a 2-run home run for the game winner. So you never know.
Tap foul.
Tied him up inside.
Isringhausen getting loose in the pen, and the Reds will have 3, 4, and 5 coming up. That means Dunn, Griffey, and Encarnacion. It was Griffey that got to Isringhausen last year. One of the games here at Busch Stadium. Breaking ball hit to the shortstop. And Gonzalez throws wide. Off Hatteberg's glove, 1 run in. They'll hold up Taguchi at third. And it's now a 4-1 Cardinal lead.
It looked like Hatteberg, when he went to get to first base, his legs kind of slipped out from under him a little bit. Throw was a little bit wide, but not that badly. And there you see, well, maybe it was a little wider than you thought, but not hit hard enough to turn 2. Taguchi seeing the play behind. Preston Wilson, you see him running down here, sees a wide throw and just takes off scoring position.
Now a second intentional pass in this inning. This will be the intentional walk to Kennedy, and they'll load him up for Molina. And with his speed, a chance at a double play at any bag. So we have seen two intentional walks here in the 8th. 3 walks total. An error. That many walks and you're asking for trouble.
Late in the ball game, it's tied.
Taguchi, Wilson, and Kennedy all aboard for St. Louis. And Molina hits it out to right. Taguchi will tag up. The throw by Griffey goes into second base. This is the cutoff. RBI for Molina. And it's 5-1. Didn't waste any time, did he?
No. Hit the ball that well. Why not?
Runners at the corners now. And this is Flores' spot.
They may send him up. Let him hit for himself.
Yeah.
It's no longer a safe situation.
Exactly. And Isringhausen is taking a seat now in the bullpen.
Yeah, when you've got you only won 1 game at home, I think you just got to do everything you can to win.
And assuming the reason that you keep Flores in this spot, as you mentioned, Al, you don't have a safe situation. They, of course, do have another lefty down there in Tyler Johnson, but
got 2 lefties coming up.
Right, Dunn and Griffey. So Flores will hit for himself. Runners at first and third. And 2 outs. And it's now a 5-1 St. Louis lead. Runner from first off with the pitch, no throw, and a stolen base for Adam Kennedy.
Hoping to throw down and get a wild throw or something, but you know, Ross didn't fall for it. You're a bad hitter, sometimes it's better not to swing.
Randy has said that he was such a poor hitter in high school that he would play first base, and they'd actually use the DH for him and not the pitcher. So the pitcher would hit and Randy would sit. But maybe you could just say how they were protecting his arm, make sure that nothing got in harm's way at the plate.
Well, he walked on to University of Southern California and made their team and did a good job there throughout his career.
All-time leader in wins. And Randy backs away from a breaking ball, and the Cardinals strand two, but Pujols with the big hit. The Redbirds pick up 4, and they lead it 5-1. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Busch. Smooth Busch beer, easy drinking Busch Light. By Chevrolet. Meet the all-new Silverado 2007 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. See for yourself, shop and compare at stlchevy.com. And by Advance Auto Parts, providing car care know-how to protect your investment. We're ready in advance. Union Station in downtown St. Louis. Welcome back. It's the top of the ninth, and it's 5-1 St. Louis. Albert Pujols with a huge double to break open a 1-1 game in the 8th. Cardinals would add 2 more, and now they lead it 5-1. Here is Dunn against Randy Flores. So the Cardinals are able to keep Flores in this game in a non-save situation to face Dunn, face Ken Griffey Jr., and possibly finish this game off. No activity in the bullpen. At one point the Cardinals had Isringhausen up and throwing, but the closer sits down. 2-1. And Dunn hits it out to left center field. So Taguchi on the move, and it's off his glove and off the Bud Light side. And Adam Dunn trots into second base. Remember, Taguchi pinch hit for Edmonds, and he stays in the game to play center. And a double has been awarded to Adam Dunn.
Yeah, got his glove on it, almost overran it, kind of off the little fingers of the fielder's glove. And you know, Randy Flores will have to get those mental juices pumped up again, as you know, you think you're out of the ball game and you think you're in line for the victory. You know, that's why you can never relax until you're officially taken out. Now they'll get Izzy back up, as it's not quite a save situation yet, but one more runner it would be.
Strike at the knees to Ken Griffey Jr. 0 for 3 tonight. And Isringhausen back up and throwing for the second time. Where's that pitch? 2-1.
Alfonso Marquez has had a nice pitcher strike zone all game until it seems like this inning it's gotten a little bit tighter.
The 2-1 pitch. Junior pulls it off the bag, but
time was
off his foot. Must have barely caught his foot, because that would hurt.
Yeah, and well, he's taking a long walk around the batter's circle.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Ken Griffey Jr.
Watch that front foot. See right on the top of it.
Slowly hit right side. Kennedy to Albert for the first out. Something that'll get the juices flowing too for Randy Flores. Keep his ERA at 0. Make sure that runner doesn't come around to score.
There's a little different things like that, you know, mentally to tighten it up.
Here's Encarnacion. Isringhausen still throwing in the bullpen. Dunn the runner at third.
Eddie Berg, another left-handed bat on deck.
Make sure you stay with us. The post-game show is coming up. Pat Paris and Jim Hayes and Joe Goldberg and Ricky Horton standing by. For Cardinals Live, the post-game show presented by Budweiser. That's strike two. Cardinals can hold on. They'll hold it within 3.5 games. Here in May, or rather April, with May just around the corner. No balls and 2 strikes. Did he hold on? Odd play. Molina thought he held on, and he did not.
He's trying to sell it to the home plate umpire, and the umpire said he's juggled it. Fell on the ground.
I think what happened, Al, possibly, is that it hit the umpire, and then Molina caught it as it came back. Not positive, but that could have been the case.
Pretty good. It ricochets back out in front of you and without really moving a muscle.
Yeah, and he was pretty emphatic about the call to say, look, it hit off me and that's it.
Tony and didn't complain, so probably light drizzle coming down again.
Two and two the count. Popped up on the infield. Pujols coming in for out number 2. Battling the raindrops, puts it away for the second out. The Flores an out away from getting out of this situation in which a run could score, and an out away from a win after a leadoff double.
Keep his ERA at 0 and pick up a victory.
Here's Hatteberg, so a lefty-lefty matchup to finish it off. Two balls and no strikes. And there's a base hit into right, and this game is extended. And that's the first run that Randy Flores has allowed here in 2007. It's now 5-2.
Pitch kind of up a little bit, left it in the zone, and now that it is a save situation, you got to go to your closer.
So here comes Izzy. Cardinals 1 out away. Taking game 2. It's 5-2. Numbers on Isringhausen this season. 9th appearance, a record of 1-0. And it is now a save opportunity for Isringhausen. Really some tough luck on Sunday. The bloop that should have been caught down the right field line, which would make him perfect in save opportunities, but that's not the case. The Cardinals would win the game, and that was the most important thing on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, even tougher than that, the ball started so foul that the wind blew it back into territory, and a high pop-up turned into a single that tied the score. But you know, the one thing, Randy Flores being a true bullpenner, he'll get the win. Jason will get the save, but more importantly, I think it is important Jason get in here, because remember, before the Cardinals scored 4 runs, and before they got their 4th run, Jason was heated up, ready to go, and then you sit down, and then he has to warm up again. It's better off to come in and finish the game than to sit there warming up hard twice and not pitch. Why a lot of managers today, if they get their closer up, they do everything they can to bring him in, and that's you know, it's always better for you. It's the times you warm up and don't come in that's what hurts you.
Here is Gonzalez on a 1-0 pitch. Homer twice in the ball game last night.
Valentine is on deck if Gonzalez can extend the inning. One of their 3 catchers, and a guy that swings the bat very well.
The 1-1 pitch. A liner that is through Eckstein. And now the tying run comes to the plate. This game should be over.
Hit hard, but right through the legs of David Eckstein, and I'm sure he'd be the first one to tell you that he should have made that play. Took just a half a step to his right and right through the middle. They give that a hit.
Could have given it there to Taguchi earlier in this inning, and now it's E6 on Eckstein.
Yeah, there. And we agree with that.
Yep. Javier Valentin. He's got a little power. He was a very, very good pinch hitter a couple of years ago. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. That's 6 RBIs and hitting .250. The tying run now at the plate in this 5-2 game. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A year ago, he led pinch hitters with 12 hits. He had 4 pinch hit home runs and 12 RBIs. That fell 1 shy of the franchise record for pinch hit home runs.
1-1 pitch, a broken bat, backhanded by Albert. Force play at second, and the Cardinals win it. Heads up play by Albert Pujols to end this game, and the Cardinals win it with a final of 5-2. Lots of post-game coverage coming up. Pujols, the force play at second, and a 5-2 Cardinal win.
Well, the Cardinals hold on and win this game by the score of 5-2 as Randy Flores picks up his first victory of the season, and the save goes to Jason Isringhausen. The Cardinals were always looking for clutch hitting in the first couple of weeks of this regular season, and who else gets it started tonight other than Mr. Pujols?
Well, I think you just couldn't believe that he didn't come through on a regular basis, but this is what you're always accustomed to seeing Albert come up here with a key base hit, and not only does he drive in 1 run, but he drives in 2. Those were a big insurance. They could pile on, and they had 2 more. Didn't need them all, but it was good to see.
Very good to see as Pujols leads the team in RBIs with 14. Much more to come from the broadcast booth and here at Busch Stadium as the Cardinals win this game and take game 2 over Cincinnati. For Al, I'm Dan. Let's send it over to Pat.
Guys, stay right there. We'll see in just a minute on Budweiser Cardinals Live. Plenty of post-game reaction. You're going to hear from the star of the game, Albert Pujols. We'll bring you Tony La Russa's comments and go inside the Cardinals clubhouse of this 5-2 victory over the Reds. And Rick Horton, the former Cardinal reliever, joins me with analysis. Plenty to come on Budweiser Cardinals Live from Busch Stadium. Keep it here on FSN Midwest.
Thanks a lot. The rain coming down here. We're joined by Albert Pujols. You talk all the time about not trying to hit the home run, just trying to go opposite field, get something. Was that the approach there?
You just got it, man. I mean, the worst thing you can do in there is hit a ground ball double play. You know, the best thing you can do is get a base hit. And the okay thing that you can do is hit a long fly ball so that running can advance, you know. And I try to get the ball get deep and just put my best swing, you know, and don't try to do too much. Obviously, you know, I'm seeing the ball real better than the last couple of weeks, and I just trust my hands and our bat and just try to use the whole field.
Is there any relief just for the whole team? Because there's Looper pitching a great game again. You're leading, and suddenly it's 1-1. Offense has been tough, and suddenly things open up there.
Well, obviously, I mean, you know, when a guy throws a great game like that, like Looper, you know, you know, we've been struggling lately, and he came up today and just ready to pitch. You know, I mean, it's sad that he don't get the win, but obviously we get the win no matter how. And you need to give credit to Branson Arroyo. I mean, he didn't give in today. He mixed up his pitch. He throw his off speed real good for a strike, and throw a couple of fastball inside, you know, away. So, I mean, it was pretty tough. We didn't have too much break, but obviously we come up with the win at the end, and that's what's the most important thing.
Great job and nice defensive play to end it.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, that is Albert Pujols. Big hit for him and a big win for the Cardinals. Let's go back to you guys.